Hey everyone, welcome back. This is our panel discussion on tarot and mixed divination. So we're going to talk about combining different divination tools and readings, and that can include anything from runes to tarot cards, the pendulums to oracle cards, and that's just to name a few. And we've got an amazing cast here. You may know who we are because we've been joining you all day and yesterday. But we also have Sienna from Demure Life. So if you could kindly just introduce yourself in your own words and we'll get the conversation started.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I am Sienna of Demure Life. So nice to connect with everybody. I am a shaman, a medicine woman, a tarot reader or oracle. I am a Reiki master of all things, trying to be anyway, master mom. I have young children at home, and I am a business owner in downtown Chester. I love working with people one-on-one. I am a mentor. I have clients and students and friends, and I'm just facilitating space for us all. So, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So it seems as though we are all tapped into divination in our own special way. Let's just talk about what some of those ways are. Let me put the talking stick in the center there.
All right, I'll kick us off. So I am an intuitive oracle reader. Most commonly, I use oracle cards and pendulum work when I'm reading for others. When I'm reading for myself, I do both of those things, and I sprinkle in some tarot and some rune divination. So I got a mixed bag. And of course, I have, 3 oracle decks I regularly use, and I'll mix the decks together as well. But I have who knows how many on the shelf. So quite a bit. And yeah, that's my bag of divination.
I'm curious, how do you feel about combining these things together? Was there a point in time where you were like, no, I gotta choose one, must choose only one?
Yes. So when I first started out, and most of that was really transitioning from personal into business. So I did a lot of personal divination for years growing up. Since I was young, it was something I was interested in. And then I really got into it, I think really not until college, later years, later teen, early 20s. And then I started doing it professionally and creating a business out of it over the last 4 years. And I think at first, especially as a business, you feel like you have, or I felt that I had to have be this, or say I am this, or this is my title, this is what I do. And so I've kind of limited myself in that way. And then also just the nerves of when you're first starting, of it's one thing to do it for yourself, but then to share that, be that intimate with another person. Divination is a very intimate experience. It's a very vulnerable experience. It's a very personal experience. And to share that with someone, there's a lot there. And so I think when I was first starting off, there was a bit of pressure that I put on myself on how I wanted to show up. And part of that was just using one deck, one and only oracle cards. Obviously, as I got more comfortable and kind of realized where my magic was, I really have expanded that. And, I always use the pendulum. For me, that's something that I've grown really close to, and that works for me. And when people ask for specific answers, that's a really easy, clear yes, no. whereas cards are more themes, emotions, open to intuitive interpretation, right? And then we have a clear yes, no with a pendulum. So I really like bringing that in. And then if I'm moved, sometimes everything will show up in a reading. I don't advertise it, but sometimes it pops its head in because that's what wants to come through. So
100%. Yeah. I hear you. All right. What other kind of divination combos do we have going on up in here?
This is so interesting to me because I go with energy flow so organically. I connect with the divine first and foremost, and I always ask, what's next? And these are things that I didn't realize, growing up as a child, because I had to shed like the forced belief and the limiting beliefs before I can open up to find what my magic was. So I started out with, what's next? I learned about the purification of the water, the power of the water. Then it was like, what's next? Then I became, and I say I became because my friends, my magical friends, give me these terms and names. It's like, you're a green witch. You have the plants and the trees. So then I connected with that, and it's like, what's next? I learned more. Then I went into earthing and loving my bare feet. Then I went into the power stones. Then I went to the essential oils. Then it went from the essential oils to the incantations and the affirmations. And it's always with the what next and the growing and developing, because it felt like a long time before I can discover magic. But now, since I've been in this space and place for 5 years, it's been coming in so fast. Like, I hear you guys, you ladies, talking about the tarot cards. And I have yet to find mine because I believe that these things need to call you. They find you and then you connect. But what I have been doing, which I'm like, wow, I don't have a set of tarot cards, but I've always used playing cards as tarot cards. I've always learned them, like the ancient ways. So when I see, your beautiful cards, I'm like, oh, wow, I can't wait to find mine that call to me. And I think that maybe that connection that we were talking about in the green room, they might be my cards. I'm not sure yet, because I just feel that it comes to you organically. Well, to me, it comes organically because I've always wanted to know these things as a child. But like I said, the limiting beliefs, the restricting beliefs leaves you very small in your magic and in your power. Chloe said something about a pendulum. I've never called it that. It was always a beautiful necklace that was handed down with a charm. So now you gave it a name. So I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, that I know. I don't know how it's done in the world. I just know how it calls to me to do that and what I remember from like growing up. So those are like my mixed magics. Thank you so much for letting me share.
you know what I love about what you said? Well, actually, I love a lot about it. But one, so for those who don't know, playing cards are tarot cards. Playing cards were created as a way to carry on with tarot divination at a time when it was seen as very taboo, and very, it wasn't accepted. So playing cards were created so that people could carry on with their divination in secret and not get judged for it and not get in trouble. So playing cards are tarot cards. So maybe those are your tarot cards, right? There's magic in them. And then about the pendulum, I love the way that you said that, and it's funny because I was thinking as we were sitting here, oh gosh, I forgot to bring my pendulum over. I have like 4, but also I always forget my pendulum everywhere I go. And any necklace, anything with weight, right? It has to have a little weight to it because we got to be able to physically swing. But truly anything, I've made a pendulum out of string and like a hair tie or whatever I had available, anything to give that weight. And so anything, right, can be. So giving a yes, show me a no, right? and a maybe. How about the energy of the room? Clockwise is open. Hey, this room is popping. So, right? So I love that you said that, something that's passed down, a piece of jewelry, a necklace, because it truly can be. And it's even more magical if it's something passed down, because it's carrying that energy of your ancestors, of your family, your bloodline. You know, I think that's so beautiful. If you have anything more to say about that, I'd love to hear about it. I love that.
I really loved what you shared. You know, like when it comes to the pendulum, and how you said that, you know, you didn't know it had a name. It was just something that you saw. You know, like
Sienna, are you with us now? Okay, well, you're muted now. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Carry on.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Because I was like, what the heck is happening? Okay, what I was saying is I love what you shared about the pendulum as well. Is, you know, like you didn't know it had a name. It was just a necklace. You can't hear me again. Can you hear me?
Listen, somebody's trying to mess with our magic here.
Yeah,
Somebody's trying to mess with our magic. We need Sienna to come in and come
Oh,
back.
yeah, we absolutely need Sienna.
And that's just what happens when the vibes are so high sometimes.
I know. We got to cool it down, y'all. We got to cool it down.
Well, Chloe was like, the pendulum is spinning. It's open. And you didn't see how it was swirling?
Chloe just created a vortex that totally disturbed our technology.
Sorry.
It's all good. I'm also happy to talk about divination.
Take it away.
Boom. So the first tarot deck that I've ever owned was one that I designed. And that was the way that I got to learn the tarot iconography. I'm also, I'm traditionally trained as an architect, but, you know, I also tapped into the artist side of what I do. Speaking of ancestors, I just recently found out that my grandfather was an artist. I didn't even know that. So that's something that was passed down to me that I'm super happy to, you know, put into practice. And one of the decks that I designed is the badass baby unicorn deck. What I decided for myself is that tarot didn't have to be so serious. Like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. Like, I created some, you know, some sketches that can deliver messages with a bit of levity. And also, I mean, they're just kind of cute too. So to be able to, you know, tap into that and kind of like add the spin of creativity was something that really, you know, just like that just really touched my soul. So that was the first deck that I created. And the second deck that I created was the I Love the 80s tarot deck, which was me healing my inner child. I'm an 80s baby, you know, and really getting to, thanks, getting to know the, you know, the tarot, you know, characters, so to speak, through the reference of the 80s era was just like for me. So then I decided to combine them with these other little babies that I created, which are tarot runes. So they're runes, but on the back they've got, this is 3 of Swords, by the way. You know, so they've got the tarot on the other side, and you can put them in a pouch. You can, you know, like mix them around. And when you choose one, you can carry it in your pocket, you know, like as a reminder, like, okay, this is the energy that I'm working with today. So I tend to use those as clarifiers for my tarot. You know, I'll pull some cards and be like, okay, let's get deeper into that energy. And then I'll put the runes in. And then, like Chloe was saying, sometimes I need a yes or a no. So I've got my pendulum on deck too. I actually have a few of them. They just like, kind of around whenever whenever they're needed. But yeah, they all seem to like harmoniously just like work together. And the way that I figure out which ones I'm going to use is I ask them like, hey, deck, do you want to be used right now? And it'll let me know, or one of them be like, pick me. And I'll be like, oh, okay, got you, and reach over there and grab that one. Monique is an 80s baby too. And Juanita's sent that clearing energy. Thank you. We needed that. Awesome. How you doing, Sienna? You back with us?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better.
Yes. I was like, what the heck is happening? What I was trying to say is I really enjoyed what you said about the pendulum. I thought that was awesome. Like, like how you said you didn't have a name for it. It traveled down. You don't hear me again. No? Can you hear me?
It's not your audio. Every time you start speaking, it gets glitchy and like time warpy.
I'm
like right now it's fine.
I'm a multi-dimensional being. I think I do this. I don't know. But I was just trying to express that I really enjoyed what you said about your pendulum and how you didn't necessarily have a name for it. It was something that you just recognized, and how it was something that it was a necklace on a charm, and that was like, you really seem to me as though somebody that ties into your family history. And I myself, I'm somebody who is very connected to my roots as well. So I just felt like a reflection there. Also, I thought it was funny is because you're talking about playing cards. I also have this book here for playing card divination, on those things. So I had it right here the whole time, and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, here we go. Like I was just looking at it, and I love how things like that connect and intermingle for myself when it comes to reading. I just enjoy putting messages together. That means something to me, but it won't mean anything to the people that I read for. So it's a message that I can convey in a certain way with like phrasing. So for me, my mind works with words in images. So I connect multiple decks or other images. I'll put like a oracle deck in. My favorite. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get on my phone. But yes, I enjoy that.
It's all good. It's all good.
Maybe we could also all work our magic and do like a little visualization for Sienna and like bring her down to earth. Like just like take it down a notch. Bring her back here on technology frequency. Let's all combine our powers. Bring her down.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you for that. And I've got a curious question for you. So you've mentioned all the things that you do use, currently, or most of them anyway. Are there some, new types of divination that you would like to incorporate, that you perhaps haven't just yet? Maybe something that interests you, Just a question.
That's a good question.
My device. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah.
I think you said yes last time.
So annoying. Mercury retrograde. What's going on? I have no excuse. I don't know. But I really wanted to say that I really just liked your necklace, you know, story on how you connect to your ancestors, and like you really connect down to the things that people have taught you, because that's the way I've learned as well. I really felt like a camaraderie, like a reflection there. And then also I had this book sitting here when you said that. Also, I wanted to say for myself is like I utilize different cards, different decks together. Like Chloe said, that she just kind of puts a bunch of different decks together sometimes to get the message. For myself, I do that, but I also have cards that I've created myself interwoven within that deck. Sometimes I'm shuffling like 100 cards in my hands, you know, because you never know which card's gonna be the message. Another thing that I wanted to express is that I utilize palmistry a lot of the time when I'm reading in person. So it's not necessarily full on palmistry in the way that we can pick up a book to learn. As you know, as we were talking about before, like what we're shown is really important, right? So it's like, you know, for me, I was shown when I was a kid how to hold someone's hand and feel their vibration and get the message out of that, just looking at certain lines and allowing your spirit to kind of follow that as the type of pathway to go, you know. So like that's what I found for myself is easiest, you know, like when I do in-person readings. But if I'm not doing in-person reading and it's just like over the phone, you know, like I really connect very much with my oracle cards and my tarot cards together. And depends on where I am too. I love what Kai had, the little runes, you know, like, you know, the bag of juju, you know, like where you pick it out and you're just like, here you go, this is what it is, you know, like that's how I do things. So you guys are awesome reflections of that work and that light, and it just shows me that we're all connected and we're all vibing the same way.
It's so nice to hear and see you again.
Yay!
And I'm glad you brought up palmistry. So Kai had just asked right before you came back if there was any divination, any techniques that I was interested in that I don't currently incorporate. Mm-hmm. And palm reading was something that I kind of like jokingly looked into, you know, late high school, early college, and, you know, parties would be like, oh, I can read your palm, right? You know, it's that girl. Yeah. And I'm sure we all were, but and but it truly, like on a very serious note, is something that I find absolutely fascinating. Mm-hmm. Especially how I've learned about how our body holds so much memory in this life and past lives, right? Mm-hmm. And physically, all of these ideas of I know there's like some ideas of like moles or birthmarks or things like that being signifiers for the physical body of things you're carrying over from a previous life. Mm-hmm. And I know like energetically we hold on to things physically in the body in this life and others as we move forward. You know, where anxiety shows up, all those things, like what part of the body, our physical responses to things, and just the body being this idea that the body is a map, right? And that we have all this information here. I came across something recently where something about the different lines of a thumbprint, like whether they're curled, are they wavy, are they like in a little like half circle, like all of that. Mm-hmm. Those are all indicators.
Everything is predestined. Everything is predestined, and everything like that has been explained twice, you know? So it's like, you know, you see those little, you know, fingerprint maps, or, you know, like the thing, you think about those things and it's like, wow, somebody had to have expressed this way or shown this experience or done this so many times that this has become redundant. So it can be said that it's been here. So, you know, there's no new ideas. It's only the experience of like sharing, you know, and recording those histories of like the things that come up. And, you know, I think that's really awesome. I love getting that stuff. And I liked what you said about the body holding memory, right? So like there's a book that I have here in the shop. It's called Metaphysical Anatomy. And it's by Yvette Rose. Amazing book. It's pretty expensive. It's probably about like $60 if you get it on Amazon. It's an encyclopedia with it's pretty dense. But anything physical ailments, it draws it right back to the emotion, and the emotion that imprinted that into the body. And I think that that's really imperative for like everybody to have that type of knowledge, and that where, you know, that information, because then if you know better, you can do better. You know,
Like
if you have that,
metaphysical,
yeah, it's like
you know.
everything has a metaphysical correlation to it. And you know, I think that, you know, finger charts, palmistry, phrenology is another thing that I do, as well as like touching the head and finding placements on the head. You know, so I think that the body itself, and in addition to, you know, tarot, I think that, you know, connecting to the exact person that you're with, or yourself, you know, like really understanding your body and understanding how the body works as a channel, as an energetic channel. You can never really go wrong with mixing that divination system. Like the body is its own oracle, you know, it's its own information center, and that is given to us by the Most High. So we using our bodies to actually channel more information and additional divination is important too, to blend it within tarot. So I
Absolutely.
cool too.
And like in harmony with what you're saying, it's like we're an antenna, almost like that ham radio, that CB. We're
Right.
receiving and we're also sending. And just to, I'm excited because I don't know the names of these things. I just do things. For
Yeah.
instance, I had a tray of power stones right before you started talking. And and people like to say, well, for no reason at all, but we know that there's always a reason.
Always.
They happen to fall. So now as you were talking, I was looking down and I'm like, where did it fall? That stone fell in the sage. Why did it fall in the sage? That one fell in my tea. Why did it fall in my tea? Why did it land on the letter T? Why did it land on the letter Z? Like I take things in as signs and it just comes to me like this naturally. Another thing that I wanted to share was just 2 years ago and every year after that, I've been coming across with animals that have never appeared before to these people in their home have appeared to me. Like there was a hawk right on my deck and a hummingbird came right in my face. And then a friend of mine was like, oh my goodness, you have these animal spirits coming to you, look into that. And I was like, oh, okay. But I'm just aware of it. I'm like, well, this happens. And the curiosity of a child, why does it happen? And then I'm journaling. Another thing that happened to me, and I think Kai is my witness to that too. We were doing another summit, and out of nowhere, it's like spirit spoke to me that I must write. Not that I wanted to write, but that I must write. And then it was, this is what you need to write. And I was just writing. I was like, I normally don't do this, but okay, I'm gonna do that. And someone else gave it a name. They called that stream conscious writing, something like that, consciousness writing.
Automated writing. I do automated writing as well, where, you know, like I have something like I get like ruminating thoughts, like repetitive thoughts where things will just repeat itself over and over. And I'll be like, oh my God, if I hear this word one more time, I'm going to flip out. So like I have to write the word down and say it out loud, and then I'll be done with it. But like it won't stop until I've done that. You know?
Yes, that's what happened to me. Just that was all new. That
Oh
never happened to
God.
me before. I'm a journal, I like to scrapbook and I journal, but this was like a strong feeling. It just brings tears to my eyes because it's tears of joy. Because when you grow up and you have these restricted, limiting beliefs, you don't know who you are. Everyone says, and I see this with my children, they come in, they're pure beings, they're pure sources. Don't interfere with that energy. And we go in trying to make them this or make them learn that, instead of just receiving from them what they're here to teach us, because they are at their purest form with no distractions of 42nd Street. No, you know what I mean? No TV. No, they have no distractions. They are in pure spirit form. And you lose that as you grow up. You lose that. And then coupled on top of these beliefs, like, this is what you need to believe in. And these are the reasons why, if not hellfire. But, those things occur and it just blocks you along the way. So you go looking to find out, who am I? Then you go into practicing, like, what are my gifts? What do I do? And what are the tools? And if you don't, if you have all of this interference, it's like what happened to us just a little while ago, the interference of the frequency. It's like, can I hear you? Can you please reconnect? Can you come back? What was the message?
Right.
And it goes on and on as we grow up and as we get older and older. But these things come to you, they call to you. So it's not something to be afraid of. How about numerology? I didn't even know it was called numerology. I woke up one day with the number 555. Don't even know what 555 was. But lo and behold, I realized in one notebook, I wrote something 555 times, but in different times. You know what I mean? But the number, the same message, the affirmation that I was doing was written, and I didn't know that until I counted it. Then my daughter gave birth to my first grandbaby, Cinco de Mayo, 5-5, at 5:55. So it's like, these things keep coming, but they're coming. And I just believe that I'm in this space and this place where I can inspire a lot of people because I'm coming from a place organically clean. I don't know what these things are. They're just happening. And my magical friends, like you guys, are giving me the language, the terms, and this is what it is, Juju. This is what it is. And I get to connect that. I'm like, but I've been doing this. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me share.
I love what you said, like, about, kids changing, right? Kids change with, like, what they're taught, and if my mom, like I was saying, like, my mom kind of bubble wrapped me, because I'm one of three. I'm the oldest of three, and I'm the one with intuitive gifts. My brother and sister, they have intuition, but it's not like mine in the way that my mom was like, oh, you're really sensitive. I need to, like, make sure that you're good and protect you and, put this, like, orb around me, right? So, like, what I've understood is, like, my mother often, like, anything that I had needed to say, if I had any thoughts or if I saw stuff, or, like, my point of view was always honored, so that is why I feel I can stand here as an adult in that way of, like, oh wow, like, no, I'm genuinely seeing this from, like, a perspective of a child essence, because, like, my mom really bubble wrap me in that way, like, where, like, I was able to see and not have what's the word I want to use, I didn't know conflict, really, like, like, nobody ever told me I was wrong at what I was seeing, or, like, I was always, like, honored in what I saw. So it's very important to do that to children, I believe, as they grow, but don't overdo it, like, I definitely think that I think healthy perspective is to challenge, like, in a way, but not in, like, overbearing way, like, ask why instead of just, yes, that's true, like.
So you're saying don't overdo it. Like when a little one comes to you, because this is my Paulie,
Mm-hmm.
he'll want something and he'll say, "I'm older than you," and then I'll reply, "Well, not in this life,
Have this time.
but maybe you are." So it's the wordplay that you go back and
Right.
forth with,
Right.
because you see, as you were free, I was not so free. I
Right.
came from, I'm a 70s baby.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
I came from, it could be love, peace, and happiness. But when you come from different religious backgrounds, that causes confusion because you don't know, you're Catholic, are you
Right.
Christian, are you this? And then all of it is like a no. Look up to the heavens and the skies and call upon your divine, but don't you dare use those other tools that might help you. So
Right.
it comes from a place of that. And then now that I have my children, I'm like, you know what? We don't even use certain languages there. I don't even use, and I understand I'm not here to be disrespectful to anyone. I don't even use the word God. I use almighty or divine, because that connects us all to however you call upon your power source. And then, like I said before, with all these things that I'm going through, all of these things are organically done. I have flashes in my mind of when I was 2 years old. I remember a glass of water by the door. I remember something over the door. I remember having stones. I remember pictures of people by candles and water. There's so many different things. I remember cards, but I don't know if they were cards. They were laid out and spread. And I'm assuming that that was a sacred table, like an altar, because it seemed to be something put to the side, but something that was protected. So all these things are coming back, like in memory. And now as an adult, I can put names. So I hear you talking. I hear Kai with her runes. And Chloe, you just bugged me out with this hawk and hummingbird thing. I'm just like, whoa. It comes from an organic. You don't have to be afraid. You're not practicing. You're not practicing anything but discovering yourself is what I want to say. It's not a practice. It's a discovery of you.
Right.
So to share with our viewers what Juju's referencing, I put in our private chat when she was mentioning about the hawk and the hummingbird. I actually have a hummingbird tattoo on my ankle, but I grew up, my two animal connections that have always remained in my life have been the hawk and the hummingbird. So magic is everywhere. We're all connected. So, just a little magic for us. And actually, I wanted to share, going back, Sienna, to what you were mentioning about like things. I think you were saying this about things just like kind of coming when you're young and not like, and Juju, you too, like not knowing really what, not defining it as magic. I mean, everything is magic, but I just remember when I was younger, I didn't know what tapping was. Tapping. When I was stressed, I would do this instinctively. I had no idea.
Yeah, me too.
It was like a tick that I had. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't help. I had to do it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what this was. I had no idea. And then just like within the past couple years, I saw someone on Instagram who like built this whole business out of tapping. I was like, what? What's that? Like, I don't get it. And I was like, oh, this is a thing. This is like an energetic thing. Oh, crazy. I've been doing that my whole life. I didn't know. I thought I was just like, like twiddling my thumbs. Like,
soul knows what the body needs if only the body is patient enough to listen, right? So like I think that if we were all patient enough to listen to what our body is asking us to do and follow through with, because the body is also the mind, it's the spirit, it's the emotional center, like it's all of those things in conjunction. So it's like, if you're patient with time, you can sit and listen to what the body needs, and you can call it forward, and it'll tell you, you'll do these things just all just like out of the top of your head, like, oh, just
organically.
Yeah, organically, that's the word. Like you'll know what to do. You'll just know, and there's nothing to shift from that. I always tell a lot of people that connect with me, like, I think the best medicine is your medicine, your own medicine. You know what you need, like, and I'm just the facilitator to help you get there, to help you uncover that. I never want to say like, oh yeah, I'll read your whole life, because the thing is like, we all have gifts, and my goal with tarot is to really inspire people to uncover that information for themselves so they can learn to tell their own story and to listen to what their own soul has. Because if you put tarot cards out and you stare at them long enough and you understand them and you study them long enough, your own message is going to formulate. And that's what I think is so powerful. It's like, that's utilizing the tool for what it's supposed to be there for. It's for you, and each one of the of us, that connect to cards or, like other forms of tools, like these are just things that instinctively we know how to utilize. So, teaching other people to utilize these tools, I think it's really going to be helpful going forward. So everybody knows how to tap into their medicine somehow.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to talk to the people in the back. Now, when you start listening, We were talking about before about a voice being silent or like a whisper. But when you start listening to other people that are not connected and that they are not awake, you're gonna look crazy. I just wanted to let you know that because you're listening. But those that know you, your tribe, know exactly where you're coming from. And I want to segue this into asking Kai, when you were creating your own, because you said your first, remember, I'm still in the not in the search, but in the calling, like for my cards. You said your first deck was the ones that you created. Now, how were you called to that? Like it was like draw this and draw that and these colors. I want to hear about that.
Great question. I love it. So what's funny is that we were talking about automatic writing earlier, and I've been doing automatic writing for a couple of years. So much so that I'm starting to compile it into a book. But what I didn't realize is that I could also engage in automatic drawing. So these ideas, I would like sit in meditation, be like, okay, I created different ways to, to start. Cause I'm like, where do I get started? There's like 78 cards and they mean something different upright and something different the other way around. And what I did was I had to just like trust. And I sat at my desk and I would get an idea of, for instance, with the 80s deck, something from the 80s that would inspire me. And what I would do is I would, either it would come in either way. I would go and look up a card that I just got this intuitive nudge that it might relate to, or the other way around. It would say, okay, start with this card. And then I would immediately have an idea of what the image would be for that card to actually relate. So I just started drawing, and how I would know that it was something that was like, divinely inspired was that like I couldn't not do it. Like I felt like so compelled, to use this image, or to start drawing right then and there. And that's how it would go. I just set aside the time to just ask and then listen and then really, like act on those intuitive nudges, that I really use the inspiration like in that moment. So I have to say that I was truly guided, through the whole process. And it was a lot of fun. It was like, it didn't even feel like work, So thank you for asking.
Can you tell us where we could buy your decks? Because I kind of want one. They sound pretty cool. I'm an 80s baby too. I really want that deck. I'm like, there's an 80s deck? Where? Need it.
I think you're reading my mind too, because I'm also over here typing away in the chat box, getting ready to put our links up, for those of us who have some divination tools, reading, stuff like that we can share. And I'll just press send on that right now. So everyone, if you check out the chat, you'll see in there that all of our links are there. And Juju, if you have a link that I'm not aware of that you want to share, just type it on in there too.
People need to find me by spirit right now. Come find me on Facebook. If you want to know me, find me by spirit.
So they're all in there. You can find
connect
them.
With Kai, or connect with Chloe, or connect with Sierra. They all will find me. Yeah. They all will find me.
My window, my shop window, it's I'm the daughter of the wind and the water, so you have to go with the flow and catch me if you can, because I don't like to be stuck, or like people have access, like, oh yeah, you have to be here at this time. So like I have put this funny rhyme up that just reminded me of that, like, yeah, you have to catch me on Facebook.
And what's funny is that when people want to find you, they will find you, and spirit will help them. They will find you. Seriously.
That is the truth. I've never had really set hours here in my store. But every time that I'm here, the right people come in, and the people that need the help that I have to offer, I have so many beautiful people that come through my doors, and they're like, I didn't know where I was going today, but I found here. And, you know, like, it's always some, like, I'm like, well, where did you find me? And they're like, oh, I just put in crystals. And I'm like, that's so weird, because I don't even carry crystals like that for me to be coming up on like a Google search for crystals in my area, you know? So it's just, I think that spirit really just, and I call, you know, God, energy, spirit, creator. So when I think, you know, like the Most High has a plan always, and, you know, guides everyone's steps to where they need to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And can't believe it, but it's already the top of the hour. What's awesome is that Sienna's coming back in the next session after the next one. So at 5 Eastern, and feel free to convert that to your time zone. Wow, this was a really powerful discussion.
I know, do we have to stop? I have so much more to talk about. I'm so excited. We should carry this on our own time, ladies.
Definitely. It was so fun to talk to you all. I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing something like this again soon in the future. Definitely, let's get it going, because
in a few hours. And we will see everyone else in about 10 minutes. And don't forget to vote. You can nominate any and all of us for a multitude of awesome nominations that are up for grabs and recognitions. So please head on over to the links. We have them plastered everywhere, all over the Our Daily Magic group. You can find the links, I believe.
Yeah, totally. If you if you're watching on the live broadcast page, just scroll down and click on the schedule. It'll bring you straight to vote.
There it is. All right, we'll see you all in a few minutes.